Water is the most essential ingredient when it comes to flowers. Without water, flowers die. It's that simple. Today's Behind the Bloom podcast is a companion to episode number 310, Water, Nature's Life Force. We'll talk about how to prepare your water for flowers and some great tricks for making flowers last longer. I arrange flowers underwater. We visit a Southern California farm that uses water very efficiently and effectively. I share my favorite trick for flowers on the go, floating flowers, and even a recipe for flower ice cubes. It's all up next on Behind the Bloom with RJ and me. Water and flower food is essential for keeping flowers fresh and making them last longer. There's one more thing that creates the flower trifecta, a reliable flower seller that can provide you with the freshest flowers and the best selection. That's such an important connection. Check out your local flower seller, look at their selection, and ask questions. A great flower seller is a wonderful asset. Cal Flowers is a proud sponsor of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom and Behind the Bloom podcast, where flowers and wellness go hand in hand.
And we are rolling. Hey, Jay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just so that everyone knows, it is the hottest day of the year.
Yes.
And there's smoke coming from the Canadian fires.
Yeah.
And by the end of today, it's going to be the hottest it has ever been in Michigan ever.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
It is our heat index, the heat index and the temperature today will be the hottest it's ever been in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Wow.
And the air quality is going to be the poorest it's ever been.
Gosh, the air quality is bad in Chicago, too. So, I mean, it's swept all the way across Lake Michigan.
Yeah. I went out this morning and you can smell the smoke.
Oh,
it smells smoky.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, we got to figure this out. All right. We'll talk more about that because today's show is about water, nature's life force.
Yes.
And water is our most valuable resource. And we live in the Great Lakes region where we live by the world's largest freshwater supply.
Yes.
And it's very important. And people shouldn't be drilling under it and stuff like that.
No, we need to take care of it because there's a limited amount of it. And some people don't seem to
Right.
care about that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I'm very excited. So, and you know what? It's kind of interesting when we talk about this because I think that was part of the impetus for this show.
Okay.
There's two things in this. Everybody loves it when I submerge flowers. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for my entire life, whenever I do a show, are you going to submerge flowers? Yes. People love when I submerge flowers. But then at the same time, water is so essential to flowers in general. But then so many of our flower farmers are from California, where water is restricted. And so that's very interesting is that, the reason that the Rose Parade occurs in Pasadena is because in California, that was the land of milk and honey. And that's why they started the Rose Parade 100 years ago was because, hey, we want to show you that in the middle of January, this is the bounty we have. We have vegetables all year long. We have flowers all year long. We have all this stuff all year long, right? Well, then millions of people move there.
Right.
And then they need water restriction and they all need electricity and they all need air conditioning and they all need heat and they all need somewhere to live. And when they tear down trees, then there's mudslides and there's earthquakes. It all is compounded upon itself. And I think that was part of the reason that we wanted to do this show, at least a little bit about water. It's interesting too, because one of the farms that we go to in this episode, we did another thing or show just recently, Flower Ingenuity in season 7.
Oh.
That is about all of the things this same farm is doing to be sustainable, to reusable, recycling, how they're doing solar power, all this stuff.
Wow.
So, I mean, so this is a peek in at that farm in season 3, so 4 years earlier, and how much they have come in that period of time. So I'll put the link down for Flower Ingenuity too, because I think it's really important to see where we were when we talked to Jason and Troy and where we are today with Jason and Troy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Just yesterday, this is something I didn't know, but yesterday they are spot watering certain things on their property with their drone, because it's more efficient than running the entire irrigation on the plants that don't need water.
Wow. So how does that work? Can you explain how that works? So a drone flies?
Just bring a drone over and then they release the water. But they release the water the same way that they release the pesticides that they have to use. I know that sounds terrible, but okay, there's a certain thing. When you grow flowers, the bugs will find you.
Mm-hmm.
and you have to kill the bugs. But you don't want people walking through there and spraying them. You want a drone that goes in there. And so with their drone, this drone is the size of a Volkswagen.
Oh, so it's like a
That's how
huge drone.
big it is,
Okay.
right? When they spot a certain plant that needs it, they can go in and it has these huge aerating systems on it. So they can push that insecticide that they want to use just into that plant in a fine mist so it does just that plant.
Wow.
There's no overspray. There's no person standing there with it. They don't use any more than they need. And so they were like, we can do the same thing with water.
Cool.
So they will go in and just systematic, and it's a fine mist, but it's just like, and then that plant's watered.
Cool. And so that's more efficient than you said too? Like they're not wasting as much water?
Not wasting as much water because they're not watering a whole field.
Wow.
Because every plant on that farm has a sensor
Oh my gosh.
in the ground that tells them if that plant needs water and how much water it needs. So they won't overwater it and won't water it when it doesn't need it.
That's incredible.
That's how technology can help us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing. When we went and saw that, I was just like, oh my God. And he's like, this plant right here isn't going to need water for maybe 3 more days. This plant over here needs water tomorrow. This plant over here needs water as well. So it's one of those things. So yeah, it's really interesting that that's how it all works. And I think that it's just amazing that they do it that way. So yeah, it's wonderful.
Cool. I need to get that for my house plants.
Well, exactly. I mean, there are still those water probes that you can get, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. So I think that that's really important.
Gosh,
so yeah,
that's amazing. Well, I loved your visit to them in the episode, like in this episode. Even just seeing where they were 4 years ago was incredible. I mean, having their own reservoirs and water retention treatments and all of that.
Well, and what they wanted to do was they have rain, but rain isn't dependable. And so they now have, and I think I'm correct. I think they have 4 reservoirs now. They had 1 then.
Okay.
But they have 4 where they're capturing rainwater, and then also what runoff they might have is captured again and recycled and reused.
Gosh, that is incredible.
And then they make all their own compost, and they take compost from people who can't get rid of it and create compost, because they are basically changing that farm over from an avocado farm to a flower farm, which needs different nutrients.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and different soil types. Like avocado trees will grow in a lot more rockier stuff where flowers need more compost and stuff like that. Every single bit of water on that farm goes into a system that takes it back to a reservoir and cleans it before it goes into the reservoir again.
Gosh.
So they don't even lose it. If they're filling buckets and those buckets get emptied after they've had flowers in them, it's recycled and it's cleaned and then it's put back into the reservoir.
Gosh.
So that it doesn't go anywhere. It really is interesting because in this episode you meet Jason. In Flower Ingenuity, we're with Troy. Jason is the original family member, and he's in this episode we call him the King of Wax because he's the King of Wax Flower, which I think is a very funny thing. But Troy used to be a policeman, but Troy is all about technology and utilizing and measuring. And that's the important part, is about measuring to get results so that they can address it and they can fix it and make it work right.
Gosh, it is so amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And the biggest part about this one too is that, and we've jumped ahead on this, but the other cool thing about them was their avocado farm, and it was an avocado farm with a little bit of flowers, burned in the Santa Ana winds.
Right.
Santa Ana winds came in. There was a fire, lightning strike. It burned the whole thing to the ground. Mm-hmm. And Troy and Jason were cousins who were young at the time, I think in their 20s maybe. They were like, what are we going to do? Are we going to start over, or are we just going to call it quits and get out of here? And they could have called it quits. Mm-hmm. They really could have. Their fathers had made a lot of money in avocados, but they still wanted to do something good, and they wanted to do something with flowers. And so they decided they were going to rebuild it. Actually, this farm is now its own municipality. It produces all of its own power. It has its water supply. It has wells. so
Oh,
that it can pull the water out of the ground. But again, they don't like to do that because it takes electricity to do so. So that's why they reclaim as much as they can and reuse as often as they can. And Troy was just like, it's about being a steward of the land. And I think we hear about that a lot, but this is such a graphic example of how you can be a steward of the land. And Kendall Farms and Jason Kendall and Troy Connor are cousins who run this farm, who are amazing. And both are really good friends of mine. Honestly, for somebody who's as curious as I am, there is nothing better than spending an entire day with Troy Connor.
Oh.
And his assistant, who was amazing, who set up everything for us so that it was timed to every second, so we could maximize the entire day we were there.
Oh, cool.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things.
Mhm.
So, okay, let's get back. So we've talked about Kendall Farms, which is not how this show opens. This show opens about preparing your water for your flowers. And I think that that's a super important part. Is there seems to be a whole thing about, oh, well, you don't need that little packet of flower food. You don't need this. You just need to change your water every day. Well, changing your water every day is also wasteful.
Oh, right.
Because you can use flower food, and when you use flower food, you don't have to change your water. You simply top off, and you're just adding to what the flower has already used. But that's because that little packet contains certain things that lower the pH, that reduce bacteria. Because here's the other thing. Okay, change your water every day. So I'm going to pour out water that's starting to get cloudy down the drain. So it has water with bacteria in it that goes into the drain. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've used a flower nutrient, it has like a chlorine, like a swimming pool does. Okay, so it's not dangerous to the environment. That is preventing it from growing nasty stuff in it. And so then you just top it off with more flower food water. Topping it off with cold water is much better than using warm water because cold water discourages bacteria growth. So there's those types of things. And I think that that's a really important thing. And so what we did with this segment was we went back and showed all those things that we've all heard. Put a penny in your water. Doesn't work because pennies aren't made of copper. It isn't going to lower or raise your pH. And that's what the pH controller in a packet of flower food is going to adjust it. So that it's going to fall between 3.5 and 4.5. If it's higher than that or lower than that, it's not good for your flowers. There's a surfactant inside there that, how when you're in science class and you learn how there's like a skin on water, you can overfill a glass in the skin.
Yeah.
The surfactant eliminates that skin. The water goes up the stem of the flower easier.
Oh, interesting.
So then there's citric acid, which also is like a flower food, and it's a sugar that allows the flower to still get fed. Because here's the truth of the matter. When we've talked about this, we talked about the screaming.
Yeah.
But when you cut a flower, it begins to die.
Mm-hmm.
The second you cut it, it starts to die. And so what you're trying to do is allow it to last as long before it completely expires. And so those sugars continue to feed it to allow the buds to open up, the blooms to get bigger, the fragrance to be enhanced, the color to be more intense, the foliage to remain green. That's the function of that food. And this is why I am so happy that Chrysal is a sponsor of our show. I learned all this stuff from them. You go to school to learn it. And like in Amsterdam, you learn this in school because their number one export is flowers. So you have to learn about flowers when you go to school. Cool. Because it's the number one export for the country. You have to learn how to cut flowers and take care of them. You have to learn how to force bulbs in school to actually pass to go on to the next class. And that's a big deal. And because flowers are important to that society. So I think that that's all part of it too. So I think that it's topping off, using this flower sachet that comes in with everything. That's all important. Making sure you're using cold water, making sure you're measuring the flower food. So it's not like just dumping it in. I always use the analogy of a recipe for a cake. There's flour in there, there's sugar in there, there's eggs in there. You can't use whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just throw flour in there, throw some sugar in there, throw an egg or 2 or 5 or 8. It doesn't really matter. No, it all matters because it's chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the chemistry that causes the cake to work. If there's too much flour, too much sugar, not enough moisture, too much vanilla, not any vanilla, baking soda, baking powder, all those things come together to make your cake. And so it's the same thing with flowers. All those things have to come together.
And you've talked about before too, like if you have the ratio off, it could actually be worse for your flowers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
There was a company that did a study many years ago, and they took a rose and put it in water with no additives to it, and the rose lasted 5 days. They put it in with too much flower food, and it lasted 3 days. They put it in with too little of flower food, it lasted 4 days. They put it in with the correct amount of flower food, and it lasted 8 days.
Oh, wow.
So if you overdose or underdose, there's too much of those things or too little of them to do their job correctly. And that's why on the packet of flower food, there's always instructions on the back. Here's my other thing, and I know that this is just a frustration point for Chrysal, I'm sure. I love a 10-gram package because a 10-gram package will do a liter of water.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
You can put a 10-gram package in here, and that's the specific amount, AVN. And so if they want to sponsor us and sponsor our television show, they called me the other day and they wanted to do a partnership. So I'm just telling you, this is the only water I drink. So never mind. But anyway, that liter is the correct amount. Now, some places put a 5-gram package on because it's cheaper. And ultimately, I would like 2 10-gram packages so that I could make 2 liters of water with every bouquet I have. So I have one that I could put it into and one that I can top off with. Here's the other thing is most of our vases will hold about a gallon of water. So that's like 2 liters. So you really need more of the flower food. But the challenge for the Chrysal people is what are companies willing to pay for that free gift that they're giving their customers when they purchase flowers? In Amsterdam, people know, in the Netherlands, people know that you need flower food and they buy it and it's sold in grocery stores. And people will go to the grocery store and buy eggs and butter and milk and flower food.
That's so cool.
And flowers.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. And they know they need it because they learned about it in school. I think that that's a place where we need to catch up a little bit with that and see what that is. So that was my first part about that. Then we submerged flowers. So that is the thing that everyone loves. I think it's really neat. The thing about it is it's a special event thing. It is something that when you look at things, submerged flowers start to deteriorate very quickly. And if there's flower food in that water, they will deteriorate faster because the petals of the flower aren't supposed to be underwater. And there's sugar in that. And so those two combinations start to make soup.
Okay, right.
That's a bacteria soup.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend, Gay, that used to work for Chrysal, and she was wonderful, and she was one of the smartest. I learned so much from Gay, and she has since passed away. But she would always talk about bacteria soup, and I was just like, yeah, I get that. That's a very vivid picture in my mind.
Right.
That's important. So using ice cold water and crystal clear water is going to make a submerged flower look big, and the water's going to look clear. The other thing is people wanted to do this always for like weddings or something and do them a couple days ahead of time.
That's not going to, okay.
No, because it's about 18 hours. That's about all you get. And it really starts to cloud the water and the flower underneath there starts to fall apart. It's very cool because that flower gets magnified by the water.
Yeah.
And so it's really impressive. And it takes a flower frog.
Mm-hmm.
So you pierce the flower frog and put the flower on that and then stick it in the bottom and then fill it up with water. They're really hard to transport. So you have to do them where you're going to have them.
Okay.
And so I think it was always, but I was like, oh my God, I just love this. I'm going to do this for a wedding. And people would call me and say, how do I transport 65 bubble bowls with lilies in the bottom and flower frogs that are, you make them there.
Right.
So, so it's a really cool project for a family to do or kids to do or somebody to do on their dining room table at home with a single rose from the garden that is maybe this big. And in there, it looks like it's this big, So that's fun. The clematis in the bubble bowl was a really good one. And then you kind of use stones to cover up everybody else too. But yeah, the clematis was a good one.
I love the clematis one. It was so cool because it was like every angle you looked at it, it was totally different. And there was so much going on and like intertwined with everything. It was just like very visually fun to look at. I thought that was super cool.
I think using like a piece of curly willow or even like ivy underwater.
Oh,
and then cool. Going in and adding a couple flowers. There was also one time in a show on Fun with Flowers and Jay where my friend Derek came from He was on The Arrangement. That was a competition show that was on many, many years ago.
Oh.
He would use the craft wire and then place like Gerber daisies underwater with it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a video that's on uBloom, so I'll put the link down below so that you can see that
great.
too. But I think it's really funny. We did a submerged flower arrangement project for Life in Bloom. We did one for Fun with Flowers and Jay, and we also did one for JTV. All of them were over 1 million views on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and it's just something that people get fascinated by. And I think that that's just a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did not do a flower tip at the beginning of it because I wanted to address that flowers on the go is one of the best tricks that I do. And it, again, uses this bottle. Okay.
The Evian.
So, or a liter bottle. Anything that has a liter. So when you're looking at the bottles on the shelf at a grocery store, buy the liter ones because they're going to last longer. But what I would do with this is I would take it, I would add a 10-gram package or 2 5s and get this all mixed up inside here, shake it up, okay? Then I'll take my clippers and just clip off the very top of this bottle.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so only down maybe like 2 or 3 inches. And so then you clip that down and you have a vase that you can add flowers to from the grocery store where you stopped and picked up the water. And so whenever I travel, I go pick up a bottle of water, I pick up flowers, I look for one that has a little sachet on it that's a 10-gram or get 2 5s, and then I have flowers in my room when I travel.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm so used to having flowers around the house now. Amanda and I always have flowers around the house. But when we go on trips, we don't. And it's like, that's such a cool way. Now I'm going to start having flowers around the hotel room. I like hadn't thought of that before. And now I'm like, I don't know. We were on vacation just over the 4th of July and are so used to always having flowers around the house. And our like hotel room felt very like sterile. And like, it's like, you know,
it's
like,
like, true.
Yeah,
I mean, and when you get used to it, when I go to Hawaii too, I love that in Hawaii, they sell stemmed gardenias.
Oh, cool.
There is absolutely nothing better than having a bouquet of gardenias on your nightstand because you can go to sleep smelling gardenias and wake up smelling gardenias.
Cool.
And so there used to be a company in California that did them, and long story, we've probably discussed it many times before. But anyway, it's hard to find those now. And so when there's a fragrant flower too, I'll pick up Freesia or I'll pick up the rose lilies because I love those in a room too because I like the fragrance. Now, some people are adverse to different types of things, but I'm always looking for something that smells good too in a hotel room because I like then, it's really funny. I'll get notes from the housekeeping and say, your flowers smell so good.
Oh, cool.
I think sometimes I'm nose blind. You know,
right.
But when I'm on a trip and I go back to my room and I open up the door, I can smell the flowers again.
Oh.
So that was our tip for today, but it also appears in this episode as well. And I think it's just and I have a blog post about it too. I'll put that down in a link too, because there's a blog post about it. Because I used to have to go to Dallas 4 times a year. I used to say I spent a month in the Hotel Anatole in Dallas because I would have to go to 4 shows a year and I had to spend a week there. And so I would always go to Central Market. Shout out to Central Market, my friends there in Dallas, which is a great place to buy flowers. I would go get a couple bunches of flowers and I would do this. I would put one in the bathroom, and one by my nightstand so that I had flowers there. When I was working for the Dallas Market Center, it's not about fresh flowers. It's about, permanent botanicals or Christmas decorations or things like that. So it's really nice to have the flowers greeting you when you came back to the room.
Oh, I was thinking too, if you're a hotel worker too, like you could leave them there for them and they could take them home to their family. I feel like they're not going to go to waste. That's like a nice thing that they can take with them.
I have found out from like when we have our flower conventions, like we're coming up on our Cow Flowers convention or the American Institute of Floral Designers, they always would send VIP flowers to your room. So it's an arrangement, right? Well, I learned from hotel staff that if you don't leave a note when you leave saying your housekeeper can keep those, they have to throw them away with many hotels.
Okay.
Because they weren't given permission and they don't want to perceive that they stole it. So I just always write a note and I will check it over and make sure that, it still looks fresh or cut off anything that's bad. But it's like, please take these home and enjoy it and enjoy the vase. And I hope we buy some flowers later on. And, I also have packets that say Life in Bloom and uBloom from our friends at Chrysal. So if you want to do something like that, if you want to have your own branded flower food, they do that for you at Chrysal as well. I love that because I can leave a couple of those too and say, here, use these for the flowers you buy when you get home.
Oh, cool.
It is a nice thing. So many times, too, we'll get like goodie. People will send me like fruit baskets and stuff like that. I'm in a hotel room for 2 days. I'm not going to eat that much fruit.
Right.
Yeah. Or other stuff, I mean, and
Yeah.
like when I would go to Chattanooga, my friend Linda McReynolds would send me like all the stuff they make in Chattanooga. So there was like moon pies and all this. And I was always just like, oh my God, there's just so much stuff I can't eat it all. So I would like write little notes to the housekeeping staff and say, take a couple of these,
Oh.
So that's good too. So yeah, it's always a good thing. When it comes to flowers and increased vase life, I choose Chrysal Flower Food and have enjoyed the benefits for years, professionally and personally. My favorite product is Chrysal Professional 3. This formula feeds the flowers and helps control growth of bacteria in the vase. If you want to try Chrysal Flower Food products, visit their website, chrysalflowerfood.com. Look for the link in the podcast description. Use our special discount code uBloom10. That's the letter U, Bloom, 10, for 10% off your purchase. Support the joy of flowers. The Life in Bloom Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to flower education and inspiring a love of flowers in everyone. The foundation helps fund the production of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on public television, making it possible for viewers across the country to enjoy the beauty and benefits of flowers. The foundation also provides free flower education to high schools, colleges, and floriculture programs through uBloom.com, helping students and future florists bloom in their own careers. Your donation in any amount makes a difference. Plus, all contributions are 100% tax deductible. If you'd like to help us continue sharing the power of flowers, visit the lifeinbloomfoundation.org to donate today. Thank you for your support. The floating flowers. Some flowers float better than others.
Okay.
Gerberas, it's interesting because they do float, but they get waterlogged quickly.
Oh, okay.
And so, like we were talking a couple weeks ago about how my friend Renee Van Wingerden filled his swimming pool with Gerberas.
Right.
But if they're in there more than about 6 hours, the water creeps in the side and they start to sink down. And once they're under the water, they start to deteriorate quickly.
Oh.
Like a rose, if it's open, will float well, but if it's not, it will tip over on its side and then water goes into the center of the flower. And then when the water's in the center of the flower, it can make botrytis, and that's not a good thing. Carnations float really well. Mums float really well. Daisies float really well. And daisies float because of the construction of a daisy. A strict like Shasta or Marguerite daisy is different than the construction of a Gerber daisy. There's not all those fine areas around the outside of the calyx where the water can seep in.
Oh, okay.
Some flowers float better and some flowers don't. There was a product at one point in time that Floracraft made that was like these discs of extruded foam. And they were like a thinly cut disc of extruded foam, which is kind of like styrofoam. I loved them because they came in colors. They would come in like blue and yellow and orange and pink and stuff like that. You could poke a hole in the center of it and then you could stick the flower stem through it and it would float on top of the water.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was still styrofoam, so it was still kind of one of those things. And the product never flew, but I love it. They were called designer discs, I think.
Okay.
And I used to do, this is 20 years ago. I used to do, we're trying to sell them into mass market craft stores and stuff like that. And then people would develop how to make, and you know what? I made a Rose Parade, an inspired Rose Parade float out of it on JTV in my third season. So that would have been like in 2006.
Cool. Okay.
I'll put that link down below too. It is cute to see, but it's extruded foam and it's a byproduct. And, and it's when, I don't know, as a kid, do you remember seeing like candy canes made out of styrofoam?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. That's extruded foam. It's different than styrofoam. It's super hard.
Oh, I got you.
It's a hard thing. So yeah, that's what that is.
Okay.
And then floating candles are always fun.
Yeah.
This is the one with the protea, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the protea pushed down in the vase.
Yeah.
And you need the floating candle on top to keep those submerged because all flowers are buoyant, no matter what. No flower will sink to the bottom of the container. That's why you need the flower frog to submerge the flower.
Okay.
Lilies don't want to float well. Lilies fill up with water right away. But lilies would be good for this project, and you could stack those down inside and then put a floating candle on top. But the Protea worked really well because that pincushion Protea is so pretty to look through.
Oh, yeah.
And just the floating candles. I don't know how popular floating candles. It's very interesting because certain things that I used to buy from wholesale florists are no longer available there. But when I go online to Amazon, they're available there.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's why they're not available at the wholesale florists anymore. And there's also another wonderful place I'll put their link below, shopwildthings.com.
Oh.
And if you're looking for decorations for just about any kind of event, they carry just about everything. And it's in Arizona, I believe. And it's Shop Wild Things. A couple gals who are just like really, really passionate about having all this stuff to decorate with.
Cool.
And it's a great resource as well. So I'm sure that's where you could also find floating candles.
Okay.
The flowers on ice.
Yeah. So you've shown that so many times, like on the show, or that we've seen, and it was fun to watch you. Like you've always explained how you kind of have to fill it part way and everything, but to actually like have you show like all the steps was super helpful to like visualize it.
And I think that one of the things is I have a upright freezer in my home. It is not set as cold as everything else, but it's where I store a lot of stuff. But then on my refrigerator, I have it cranked all the way to the top. And the reason I have my freezer cranked all the way to the top is that's the great place to make flower ice cubes. And this is why. Okay, when you freeze a flower, if you take a flower and put it in your freezer, it will freeze to a hard block. If you bring it out in about 2 to 3 minutes, it will turn black and die. And it will turn black quickly. Because all of the cell structure is damaged from the freezing process. And so when it thaws, it just turns black. This just reminds me of a story. When we were filming for the John Henry Company, we would have 3 semi-trucks that were filled with flowers, and we would have about $100,000 worth of flowers on hand to create these wedding books. And we would bring in 12 designers, and we would design stuff and photograph it all so that people had books to look at in flower shops. We sold millions of those books. Mm-hmm. And I was the king of those books. I will just tell you that. And they decided that they didn't want to work with me anymore, and they only made 1 book after that. I made 26 for them, and then they only made 1 that didn't sell because the people that they hired weren't very good at it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're doing. But on one occasion, we had these 3 semi-trucks outside this photo studio. Some kids came by in the night and turned them all down to freezing. And I walked in the morning, and everything was frozen solid.
Oh my gosh. Nightmare.
We had to replace everything. That was the point that we started insuring all of the trucks for their contents, right? Mm-hmm. And it was funny. I called the wholesaler who had supplied all the stuff, and I said, everything's frozen and we have to replace it all tonight. He had driven it all over from Milwaukee, and he was like, you're very funny. And I'm like, no, I'm completely serious. And he was able to get everything replaced for me, which is also
that's
a
incredible.
testament to how wonderful of a wholesaler he was. Yeah. And they're no longer in business. It was the Rojan family, Rojan and Mulaney in Milwaukee. And it was Rick Rojan who did that miracle for me.
Oh, that's incredible.
Everybody was like, well, everything looks great. And I said, just drag it out for 3 minutes. And you would the buckets were frozen solid, and you would set it in the room. And as it got to room temperature, everything turned black and just collapsed.
Oh, geez.
That's your lesson about why you have to do it this way. So what you do is you use distilled water. Always use distilled water. Don't use like what's in this. You need it to be distilled, because distilled water will have clarity when it is frozen.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing in it. So you put a little layer inside there. You place your flower in there. Its stem is in the water, but it's just sitting on top of the ice as it freezes. So then you let it freeze. Then you pull it out very quickly, fill it up with water, preferably cold water. Preferably, it's better to use like water that's like 30 degrees, 35 degrees, 40 degrees, something like that. Pour it up quickly, shove it right back in, and let it freeze. Because if you let it warm up, all those flowers will turn black, and you'll have black flowers frozen in the center.
Okay.
So it's a timing thing too. And then once you take them out, you pop them all out, put them back in a baggie, and put them in the fridge to use again. because you also have to get them out of that situation and then have them be there too. And you can do it with petals. You can do it with flowers. You can do it with leaves if you want to. I've done it with ivy leaves before. Again, ivy leaves will turn black too. So don't think that any type of botanical material, once it's frozen in there, is going to turn black once it thaws. That's kind of the weird thing. Okay. So when you put them in a drink, and somebody, you know how you drink half a drink and then you leave it sitting there and then you're not drinking it anymore.
Yeah.
And the ice melts. You're going to have black flowers floating in there.
Oh, okay. So you got to drink it quick. And
yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like, so if you do it for a party, you need like a disclaimer somewhere. And I would always have a little card that we would put on all the tables and say, these, and if we were using edible flowers, you could eat the flower if you wanted to, but also know that it's probably not going to be pretty once it thaws. So you may want to just fish it out and throw it away.
Okay.
But I think that's one of those, it's just one of those things.
I feel like today at parties, people have those like photo area or whatever. That'd be like the perfect place for it. It's like, get a photo with your flower ice and then move on.
Right. Yeah,
so
and go. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was shocked. We just recently went to London with Grace and Nick to see the ABBA Voyager again. And there were photo booths there. And it was so funny. Okay, to me, I remember photo booths, right? I mean, I remember photo booths when I was a little kid and you got the little strip and they were black and white and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They have changed so much.
Wait, what were they like now?
There's the big countdown and it's all a screen and you get a preview and you get all this stuff and they're color and there's 4 of them on a page.
Yeah.
And there's room in the booth for 4 people. And, and everybody was doing it, and then they have their little emblem down in the corner. And Grace is like, well, this is just what Uncle Jay, this is what these are all like. And I was like, no. I'll have to find you and show you what these things used to be like when you would go to the carnival, right?
Right.
And it was just like, I was just so impressed. I was just kind of like, well, this is really funny. And and it is really funny because we're all laughing so hard because it kind of still takes you off guard. It's like, okay, it's all pre-done. So like, here's your preview. Look what you're going to look like. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, picture. Okay, now look what you're going to look like. 5, 4, 3, 2. So it's kind of cool, and you're like, wait a minute. And one of them is my big forehead just in the corner, and Grace's like, I love this one. And I was like, thank you. That's great. But I think it's very interesting and it's a very memorable thing. So I think that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the zip line?
Yes. That was so cool. So they have a zip line. Is that just for fun?
It is.
Yeah.
Jason has always had a lot of toys.
Oh, okay.
If you buy flowers from Kendall Farms and you're buying, lots of flowers from them, they're very good to you. And it's really fun for people. And like whenever we host tours in Southern California, they're usually on the tour. They're a tour stop for us, and so we'll take buses there and stuff and drive all over. It's amazing. It really truly is amazing. But Jason is still that fun-loving kid that he always has been, and I think that's one of the greatest things about it. And so he's a surfer. He's a fisherman. He'll take clients out on fishing boats or he'll take them, surfing and stuff like that. And so he had a zip line and he was like, I'm going to just open up the show by coming in on the zip line. And I was like, okay. And it's funny because when I mentioned that to him, he's like, oh, I got a much better zip line now. I was just like, okay. In this episode, it was kind of hobbled together. But when you go there now, it is so impressive.
Oh, cool.
They have so many solar panels that they sell electricity back to the state.
Wow.
They're always doing those things. And, it's really, really amazing that that's what they're up to, how they've taken it seriously to be sustainable, reputable florists that are professionals, that are investing their profits back into making it a better experience for their flowers, for their employees, for their business, being really proud of what they create. And they do sell flowers to mass markets as well as also selling flowers to the general public. They have a new line where people can order a bouquet from Kendall Farms, and it's lovely and it's beautiful, and they did it right. That is something that I think, I always say that the important part about it is having a visionary, having a person who can embrace the technology, having a person who is going to be serious about the way that it's taken care of, having a great marketing team. They have all those things in place at Kendall Farms.
Oh,
I think Jason is a visionary. Troy is the tech guy. And he's like, I love to build things and I like to measure how they work. And he's very honest about that. And he's like, I don't know if I know. I mean, I'm sure he knows a great looking flower arrangement, but he's just like, I want to build something and make sure that it works and measure how well it works.
And that's
his strong suit. Yeah. And him and Jason are a great pair. And the people they surround themselves with, their marketing team and the people who work there and the employees that they have, it's all amazing. And the other thing that's very cool is in the Ingenuity episode, which is from season 7, not from season 3, so not in this one. During the pandemic, he saw how they were eliminating germs by using infrared light.
Oh.
And so he created a tunnel so that these flowers can go through, and the infrared light gauge that they're using destroys the botrytis that would be on them. So all the flowers pass through this tunnel and it kills all the botrytis on them. And they don't have to use a poison or a chemical to do it.
That's incredible.
And it's just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a really hilly place too. They have all these, like an assembly line. That's not what you would call it. That's the wrong term, but it's like a conveyor belt. Okay. Mm-hmm. They're not electric. They're driven by gravity. So they built the things in different parts of their mountainous range.
Oh my gosh.
So that they go, they all go downhill to where they're going out the door at the end.
Cool.
I mean, that's really smart.
That is.
That's really smart. Oh, no, there's no electricity. It's all run by gravity. Okay. That was really smart.
Yeah.
You know? And they're one place where they're coming back into this. They built it up so that the gravity could take the things on conveyor belt, because they're handling thousands of buckets every day, 5-gallon buckets full of water. And they don't want people with back injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, they go on the conveyor belt. It's pretty fascinating. And they're wonderful friends and wonderful people. Let's see. Can we talk? Yeah. You want to talk about water scarcity? I'm okay with that.
Okay.
And I think that it's really scary right now. And I think like we have an episode coming up about our flower lawn.
Right. Yeah.
One of the main reasons I am doing the flower lawn is to use less water.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I don't want to be pouring water to my lawn. And as hot as it's been the last few days, so many of my neighbors have brown lawns now. They could get a fine because they have a brown lawn, because that's the way the HOA is set up. That's silly.
Yeah, so they're supposed to waste water then? They're like incentivized to waste water almost?
You know, and then our local area is, we'll talk all about this in the flower lawn thing. It's important. I changed my sprinkler system to be one that I can monitor from my phone, and it's all digitized.
Oh, cool.
So I also have sensors in the ground so that I know what needs water and what doesn't. And I can adjust each individual. And you know what? Since I've had this sensor irrigation, I've only manually done it. I've never run a program anymore.
Oh.
And I can look at it when I was in California, or I can look at it when I'm on a trip somewhere, and I can determine what needs water in my yard. And I can water it for 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 2 minutes or 8 minutes. It will advise me.
That's so cool.
So, I mean, I think that that's important. The other thing that you hit on, and one of the things that we're passionate about here in Michigan, is we don't want data centers, because we don't want to use the Great Lakes water, the world's largest freshwater supply, to cool down data centers.
Right.
Let's not even get Jay started about AI. Okay?
Yeah.
Because it is not my thing. And I will argue with you every day, because I am a creative person and I work in a job, and you are too.
Yeah.
And so many people are creative. I do not want these people replaced. I want that human touch. And I am still going to remind everybody, Stephen Hawking told us not to invest in AI because it would be the end of our civilization. And I want people to remember that he said that.
Yeah.
And Stephen Hawking, arguably a very smart man.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, much smarter than me. Why do we need that? Part of the charm of my show is that Kelly and I write the scripts. We don't use AI to write scripts. I don't use AI to write emails. And I can tell when somebody does.
Right.
And I have a lot of friends who I much would rather their little stumbly letter that they write for me instead of this crafted AI thing that doesn't have a personality. And you said, could this get political? I'm sure it does. And you know what? The thing that I will tell you about that is I'm 66 years old. I have a right to feel the way I do.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. And I will argue that with everybody is we have the ability to agree to disagree. We need to just be kind to one another, and we need to think about tomorrow and what's going to happen tomorrow. Is an argument that I'm going to have with somebody going to change the trajectory of the world? And is it worth screaming and yelling or ending a friendship over? Or is it? Mm-hmm. You know, maybe it is. But I think that that's what we need to think about. And I think water conservation is at the very top of that list.
Yeah. And I don't understand why, like, I was worried that it would get political talking about water. And it's like, why should water be a political issue? This is something that everybody should be on the same page about. Everyone should want to conserve water. And it's like they've been, scientists have been warning about global warming for 20, 30, 40 years. And we've done nothing to address it. And it's like we basically just kind of ignored it. And you said right now it's the hottest it's ever been in Michigan. Where my parents are in Colorado right now, the water levels are at their lowest. They had their lowest snow season ever. And now there's fires there in places where there's never been fires. And it's like we're seeing the aftermath of ignoring all of this global warming and not addressing any of it. And then now we're putting data centers in to make it even worse. It's like we're at a point where we're seeing the result of ignoring it. Now it seems like they're doing something to make it even worse and suck up the water. And it's like, why can't we make it good for everybody? Why can't we do what the guys at Kendall Farms are doing? Implement something like that in cities, It seems like the answer's there and we're ignoring it, and that's upsetting.
And here's the thing, and what everybody says about this, and I agree with you 100%. Doing these things costs money.
Right, that's true.
Building a data center costs money too.
Right.
People who have money need to help fix this.
Yeah.
My scariest thing, not only about the water, but now they're proving that the noise that a data center makes kills bees.
Oh, gosh.
Warning sign.
Yeah.
And again, I will just say what they have proven for years. When there's no more bees, there's no more people.
Right.
Where are we going? Water. Nature's life force.
Yeah, we need it.
I said this at the very beginning of this show. Flowers need water. So do people. If people or flowers don't have water, they will die.
Mm-hmm.
So water's important.
Yeah.
It's a life or death situation. It's not just people, it's animals, it's so many other things. But yeah, water's important.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
I
thanks, Jay.
it.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us this week on Behind the Bloom podcast with Jay Schwanke and RJ Poole. If you loved what you heard, be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And share it with a friend to help us spread the joy, one bloom at a time. Thank you for taking the time to slow down with us. And hopefully you left feeling a little lighter and inspired to try something new. Make sure to join us next week for a brand new episode. Thanks for being here with us, Behind the Bloom. Hey, just one more thing. If you love flowers, you've got to check out uBloom.com. It's the online home of Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, where you can stream every episode for free. Plus, you'll find Behind the Bloom videos, my blog, show recipes, and so much more. There's also a massive video archive, over 1,800 how-to videos, flower farm documentaries, and even my very first series, JTV. All Life in Bloom episodes, exclusive web content, and farm documentaries are totally free. Just sign up with your email. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there's a paid subscription option that unlocks the full library of how-to videos. Everything from creating bridal bouquets to centerpieces, corsages, and more. Tons of content to explore. You're going to love it.